it's Nootsie, and today I want to talk to you about our upcoming 7-day slim down and specifically deal with our perspective of how we interface and relate to our body. And we really want to unify our health and our wholeness and our spirituality so we can be that threefold cord that's not easily broken. And I know if you're like me, if it's not convenient, if I can't incorporate it easily into my lifestyle, I'm not going to do it. So all of the things that we're going to be doing should be relatively easy to incorporate into your lifestyle. But if you continue to do the same things that you've always done, you're going to continue to get the same things that you've always gotten. So this will be a great jumping off point for all of us to try something a little bit different, so we can have a 7-day slim down successful journey together. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'm really passionate about helping people and giving them the tools that I've found that help me to be in health. And you know, we all are a biological experiment of one. And Nassim Haramein talks about how we have 100 trillion cells in our body, and inside each one of those cells, those tiny cells, we have 100 trillion atoms. And those atoms and those cells in our body is cheering us on for health. But what happens is we become so disconnected with our body through not paying attention to it, or being disgusted by it, or taking it for granted, that we don't understand the communication that it is trying to send to us. And as I was walking one morning, this was brought home to me very clearly. I was thinking about, how I wanted to go about doing the 7-day slim down and what I was going to include. And I heard this voice say, I want you to go on a random rant of gratitude today. And I was like, okay, I wonder what I should start with. And I heard feet. And so I decided I was just going to be thankful for my feet all day. I was going to pay attention to my feet all day. I was going to take some pictures in my different shoes. I was going to give myself a nice foot massage in the evening. And I couldn't believe how much I take my feet for granted. I shove them in all kinds of shoes. I drive with my ankle kind of bent over. I don't ever pay attention to how much I should be appreciating my feet. So we're going to take that principle and we're going to start tuning in to what the body has to say. We're going to listen to those 100 trillion cells and those 100 trillion atoms and give ourselves an opportunity to repair our relationship with our body so we can have abundant health and abundant life. So let's talk about not the nuts and bolts, but how are we going to do this 7-day slim down and changing our perspective? So our body is a master at repairing and restoring. If you think about it, if you get a flesh wound or a cut or you break an arm, the body immediately sends T cells and begins to knit back together either the skin or the bones or whatever it is. And even if you smoked for 50 years and you quit within 12 hours, the lungs start healing and repairing and restoring. That's amazing if you think about it. So we're going to work in conjunction with our body to lower the inflammation or the inner flame. So when we're inflamed all the time, the body has to send their fire department and the T cells and begin to try to lower the volume to the inflammation. And what inflammation looks like, if you cut your finger and how it gets all puffy around the scab, that is the body holding on to water while it's repairing and restoring that inflamed area. So we're going to lower the inflammation, we're going to give the fire department a break, and we're going to do things that allow the body to get rid of all of the inner flames and the water that it's holding on to take care of that. And so we are a biological experiment of one, meaning they're all different shapes and sizes. We all have different irises, we all have different feet sizes, we all have different fingerprints, but we do have so many things that we are alike. Like we all have eyeballs, we all have hearts, we all have lungs and livers and gallbladders and colon. We all burn fat the same way, but there are some people who are master fat burning machines and others who are not. So we're going to talk about how can we become a super duper fat burning machine, and how can we work with our body and how can we expedite that whole process. Now, nobody wants to count calories, me included. I don't want to count calories, but we do need to understand that your weight times 12 equals the amount of calories you're ingesting now to maintain your weight. If you're eating more than that, you're going to gain weight. If you're eating less than that, you're going to lose weight. But there are things that we can do, some targeted activities that we can do that will help kind of speed that up or give us a backdoor or a health hack or understanding the biological mechanisms. And one of those is we're going to be compacting our eating window. And the reason we want to do that is because if you think about it, they used to say don't eat a big meal and go swimming, because instead of your body being able to keep you afloat, if you've got a big meal in your belly, all the blood is running and rushing to digest that food and you won't be able to stay afloat. Well, that's true throughout. So if we're continually eating all day long, grazing, which I used to really say that we should all be grazers, it's really not the best because your metabolism is continually stimulated, you're continually diverting energy to the stomach, and you don't have energy left over or enough break time for the body to rest and repair and restore. So we're going to be doing intermittent fasting. I prefer to call it compacting our eating window, and it's really going to give you some energy to do some house cleaning. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to stimulate autophagy, which is just a fancy word for if you're not digesting food, the body has enough energy to go in and kill diseased dead cells. So we're going to incorporate or activate autophagy. Also, we're going to deal with our carbohydrates just a little bit. And so high glycemic foods are things like grains and starchy vegetables and lots of fruit, things that have added sugar. We're going to limit those things because high glycemic foods cause the insulin level to increase, and it's like a key that opens up the gate to the cell and causes that energy to go in the cell and be stored as fat. So by lowering the glycemic index foods we ingest and lowering the insulin level of our body, we will be able to then become fat burning machines. That's why people who start out on keto and do intermittent fasting see such great results in the beginning, because most of us eat way too many carbohydrates and our insulin level is really high, our inflammation is really high. So we're going to do some things that are going to lower the volume to all of that, but it's going to be easy to incorporate. It's going to be fun. We're going to do it as a group. So let's talk about the targeted activities. Some of the targeted activities are going to be a good review, and some of them will be new, but remember, we need to do new things in order to get something different. But let's talk about water for a minute. We all know that we're supposed to drink enough water, and it's very difficult at times to do so. And most of the time, we misjudge our hunger for thirst. And so let's set a baseline. So you think about it, our entire body is a waterway. Our eyes have water, our brain has water, our heart has water, our blood has water, our colon has water. We must have water, and especially since we're doing this reset, we want the body to have enough water in order to flush those toxins and release those toxins and to burn the fat. And so you take your weight divided by 2, and that equals the baseline of ounces that you need to drink. So if you weighed 180 pounds, that would be a minimum of 90 ounces. But we're going to get into the nuts and bolts to talk about really what we can do, how we can structure our water, and what we need to look for. But water is going to be a part of it. And I promise you, I'm going to give you all the particulars as we go along. But I also want to talk about dirt. We are made up of the dust of the ground, and this 7-day reset slim down is going to be very plant heavy. And I'm not against meat, but plants are much easier to digest since we're made up of the dust of the ground. The body can really digest it and assimilate it, which means turning it into living tissue much quicker than meat protein. And I'm gonna make it easy peasy, cheesy, squeezy without the cheese, I promise. But I do want to tell you just a couple things in advance so maybe you can start looking for. So sprouts are amazing. This is the Hamamama sprouts. I don't care what kind you get. I just like this because they make it so easy for you. And these are broccoli sprouts. And broccoli sprouts were really invented by Johns Hopkins University because of their cancer fighting capabilities. But if you just ate this portion of broccoli sprouts, it would be like getting the same amount of nutrition as this whole bowl full of broccoli. And sometimes broccoli causes gas and I don't like the funky smell when I cook it in my air fryer. And I would much rather just eat this portion of broccoli sprouts, put in my bowl of veggies than to have to eat a whole bowl full of broccoli. So Hamamama's a good one. Just start trying to find some sprouts. You can get them at Whole Foods, you can get them at Sprouts, you can get them at just about any grocery store. I think ones that you grow yourself are better. That's why I like this one, because it's not expensive and easy to do. Herbs, if you like herbs like I do, this is cilantro. I also buy parsley. I just put it in a glass container. I cut the ends off. I add filtered water in here and I cover it in a baggie. This will last at least 10 days in my refrigerator. I do change the water like you would if you had some cut flowers. Since we're gonna be plant heavy, how do we keep the vegetables fresh in our refrigerator? So what I do is I wash all my veggies with baking soda and vinegar and cut them, and then I put them in glass containers in filtered water. Like here is my celery. Same thing with the radishes, and then that way when it comes time, when I'm super hungry by the time I get home from my day, I can just cut them up. They're already ready to go. I don't have to wash anything. I can just cut them up in a bowl, put them in there, put some juices or sauces in there and eat them very easy. Now, we are gonna be doing heavy avocados. If you don't like avocados, I will give you alternatives. If you don't want to mess with avocados, you can get guacamole, just as long as it's, you know, more of a natural guacamole. It is going to be plant heavy, so we're gonna talk about alternative sources to meat protein, not against meat. It just takes a little bit longer to digest meat, and so we want things that are easily digestible so the body has energy left over to clean house. These are hemp seeds. 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds almost have 8 grams of protein, which is very similar to a lot of the protein powders. You can't taste it. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't crunch. It's easy to stick in vegetables or yogurt. So maybe start thinking about hemp seeds, adding some hemp seeds or buying some hemp seeds. If you can find jicama, I really recommend jicama. The reason being is the bugs in the gut, the good bugs in the gut love jicama. It's a great carrier. It's a great crunch adder to your bowl of vegetables, very satisfying, low glycemic. We're not gonna be doing a lot of fruit because fruit has a lot of insulin increasing capabilities, that's not what we want. We want low insulin, low glycemic food, so berries are okay, but for the most part, we're not gonna be doing fruit. I don't care what kind of stevia, monk fruit, inulin that you get. I just would like for you to add inulin into what you're doing, because inulin actually has no effect on the blood sugar or insulin, but the bugs in the gut love it. We're going to be doing vinegar. If you like balsamic vinegar like I do, that would be a great one. If you don't, apple cider vinegar is also good, but what it does is it helps break down protein, even plant protein. It makes it go quicker through the system. Olive oil is amazing, polyphenols, it's great for the brain. If you don't like olive oil, I would recommend sesame oil or avocado oil or coconut oil. So we are gonna be plant heavy, but I promise it's gonna taste good, it's gonna be fun, you're gonna enjoy it. It might be new to some of you, but it's gonna be amazing. And then I also wanna talk about mindfulness. You know, the Heart Brain Institute has done lots of studies about making the heart and the brain coherent and how that has such an effect on the health of our body. So I really want you to just invest in yourself. Take these 7 days and invest in the health of your body, and do it with the intent that you're gonna see the benefits, and you don't have to be perfect. If you fall off the bandwagon, it's okay. Nobody's gonna take your birthday away. Just get right back on and stay with me for 7 days. I'm super excited that you're gonna join me. I promise I'm gonna break it down to where you'll understand exactly what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, and when we're gonna do it. So until next time, be blessed.